That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Receivers, and this time he lost one and it's picked off.
And Brady and Moss hook up great football players, showing why they're great.
He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown Titans.
Well, good evening, sports fans. It's the Wednesday show with Jimbo's. Happy holidays coming up. I know some of you guys are up there in the north. It's cold up there, but it's beautiful down here in Florida. We've had great weather, or they're calling for great weather all next week. So we're looking forward to the holidays. I'll get that out of the way. I am going to do the Wednesday night show next week. We will not be doing the Saturday night show next week with Jay. Jay will be off. I'm going to do the Wednesday show next week. And we also, up top there, you guys can check out, those are the games and the schedules for the Christmas Day games. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. We always want to start the show out by thanking our sponsors and our everybody that supports us. Big shout out to Premier Properties. Steve and Nikki, always thanks. Big thanks. Happy holidays to you guys. Selective Truck Brokers, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Thanks for helping us out getting the Friday night show going for the truck drivers, taking sports to them on the road while they're out there trucking it up for their families, and getting you guys all the things you need to live every day. So big shout out to the truckers, and having a great time with the Wednesday night show. We also want to thank the Freaky Tiki here in town in Hernando Beach. Norm, looking forward to doing all the things we're talking about. Appreciate everything you're doing for the show. And with that, we're going to jump right into it, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about the Tampa Bay Bucks this week. And, we got this going on right now. And everybody's talking about Todd Bowles. Everybody's talking about Todd Bowles. All right, so does he deserve to be fired? Should he be fired? Is it going to depend on the past here, few weeks of what's happened? Is it going to depend on what they do with the Panthers, if they make the playoffs, if they don't? A lot of talk here in town. A lot of the people that I talk to with at the Bucks facilities pretty much on a daily basis now. Been getting a little inside scoop. They had the Glazers were in town and they had a meeting. Things were kind of flying around here in town all day long with Todd Bowles and the local radio stations here in town, 95.3. Aaron and them were talking, and they all seem to think Todd Bowles has lost the locker room. Everybody in town's thinking that the players are having it out with Bowles, and Bowles is having it out with the players. He did lose his temper. It made went pretty public this week on how he talked to the players publicly. And there's just been a lot of things happening here in town. Of course, a lot of people knew that if they weren't able to keep it together with all the injuries that they had this year, that this could possibly happen. They could self-destruct. I believe the day Evans got hurt, Baker at that point was everybody talking MVP, including me. That's not so much the talk right now. Evans is back. They got McMillan back. They're getting just about everybody that was injured on the offensive line is back. Defensive guys, they're back. So they are basically 100% health. And, going into this weekend with the Panthers, this is a big, big game. They got real lucky. The Panthers lost to the Saints, and that's the only way that Tampa Bay, even though they're tied in their record with the Panthers, the loss to the Saints is what kept the Bucks in the lead with the division. But it's a weak division as it is. We all know that. And can the Bucks make a run for the playoffs? I believe they probably can. I look for them to beat the Panthers. Panthers are playing good football. And, whether Todd Bowles loses his job to me, that doesn't matter right now as a Bucks fan. I think if they were to fire him now, it would be kind of senseless. But in the talk from what I heard in town today after the Glazers talked, that they're not getting rid of Bowles right now. In fact, even if they make a run in the playoffs and they lose in the first or second round of the playoffs, he's not losing his job, according to the Glazers. Now, if he doesn't make the playoffs, that could be a whole nother story. You know, a lot of people in town are talking about this guy, you know, the coach of the Panthers. You know, we all know Dave Canales, you know, was the offensive coordinator here in town in Tampa, did a great job, you know, and then this is a guy that Todd Bowles brought in. Todd Bowles made this hire when Canales came to Tampa. And to think that Dave Canales could actually be the guy that possibly costs the guy that gave him a job his job. You know what I mean? It's just ironic. And this only happens in professional sports where you see this kind of stuff. It's crazy. But, you know, Dave Canales is doing a hell of a job over there at North Carolina with the Panthers. You know, they kind of got the running game with Dowdle in line. You know, Tet definitely fulfilled all expectations of what he was in the draft. And you know, they're playing good football right now. So we'll see. You know, Bryce Young has come along and had a lot better year, a lot better season this year. We'll see what the Panthers and Tampa Bay do this weekend. So looking forward to that game. And you know, while we're talking about these offensive coordinators that were in the Bucks organization at one time, here's another guy, you know, Liam Cohen. This guy, you know, turns Baker around, gets Baker really hot, you know, turns their running game around, gets Bucky Irving out there running the football, and then this dude up and leaves. And here's another guy, and I called this one, you know, at the beginning of the year in the offseason that this guy was going to be brilliant in Jacksonville, and he has fulfilled. I mean, this guy is running the football. He's got ETN up and running. He seems to, you know, have gotten Lawrence in line. Lawrence had a huge game. Had, you know, Trevor Lawrence probably won a lot of you guys, you know, the first round of the playoffs this week between him, ETN, you know, Kyle Pitts. You know, if you had some of these guys on your fantasy team, you know, you're probably in the playoffs and making it to the second round in the playoffs. So, but Liam Cohen is a brilliant offensive coordinator. I look for him to continue. I think they're going to make a strong playoff run. And wouldn't it just be ironic that, you know, these two guys go on to make it in the playoffs and the Bucks don't? So we'll see how it goes. Look for big things up at the Jags, and you know, they're enjoyable to watch now. You know, they just are. They're a good time to watch. So enjoying what they're doing up there in Jacksonville. Now we got another big story to talk about. And, you know, I think we kind of saw it coming. I thought we saw the head coach go first, but, you know, with Tua getting benched and McDaniels parking him, I think he went a little overboard on how he said it by saying it gives him a better chance to win. I mean, I don't know how you say that when, you know, Quinn, he was speculated to be a third, fourth round pick. The guy went basically in the last round of the NFL draft. He was 231st overall. So Ewers is, you know, going to step in. Quinn's a good football player. I hope the best for him. I hope he plays good. This Tua thing, though, I think is much deeper than him just getting parked. You know, a lot of people are saying that they believe the Dolphins are going to move on from Tua. Do they move on? If they do, this is going to replicate what happened out in Denver with Russell Wilson. In fact, this one's going to cost somebody more money than what the Broncos paid. So, you know, I think they're going to have to tiptoe around this financially. It'll be interesting to see how it goes down on a $212 million extension. $54 million of that's guaranteed for 2026. You know, the cap hit that these guys are going to take and what it's going to do to their available cap space, I don't see how they can get off him. They damn sure can't release him. Now, whether they choose to, play games with the June 1st, before June 1st, after June 1st, there's different monies that's going to, cost them at that point. Maybe you see something happen there with a trade and somebody comes along, and brings him in, kind of like what they did with Russell Wilson, and take on some of that money. I don't know. With Tua's injury past, why they signed this contract in the first place, I think boggled a lot of minds. And so we'll see what happens with that. That's something that's going to keep us busy in the offseason. They've parked him for the year. And here's your starting quarterback, Dolphins fans. You're going to get a rookie in there. This guy come from Texas. Like I said earlier, he was speculated to be a third, fourth round pick. He didn't do that. He was a seventh round pick in the tail end of that as it was. So I don't know. I never really had a chance to watch him play college football that much because I wasn't a big Texas fan. So we'll see. We'll see what he does. He's got a strong arm. We'll see. And then, they got Zach Wilson there too. But I think Wilson's hurt, I think. I'm pretty sure he is, but I think he's going to be the backup from what I understand to Ur. So we'll see how that all plays out. Good luck, Dolphins fans, but I think you'll be without Tua and without Tyreek Hill next year. So get your stock in Jalen Waddle while you have a chance, because I think Waddle will probably be the number one going into 2026 is my guess on that. So, some fun facts to talk about that I was looking at this week, and I don't have any slides on this for you, but, the rookie running backs were, starting with, Henderson, Genty, Judkins. We had some big expectations for these guys, Hampton, Harvey. I was looking at, the yards these guys have accumulated after week 15. And to see Judkins leading that, it's kind of ironic because the kid, we didn't even think he was going to play after, getting arrested and all the crap he went through. We had big, expectations for Henderson, and he's got a slow start to the season, but he came on real strong. In fact, I was listening to a show last night, and they were talking about Henderson. And, I was a big Jenny fan and looked for great things for Jenny. I got put on the spot, got asked a question, how do I feel now versus Genty and Henderson? And I believe Henderson's a better running back right now. If you want to blame it on the Raiders and you want to blame it on the, all of that, you can blame it. But to me, Henderson just looks better than Jenny running the football. I mean, he just looks fast. He looks strong. He looks agile. He's juking and jiving. Henderson looks strong. And I think, before the year's out, he'll surpass, Judkins in that Judkins got 805 on yards right now. Henderson 773, Jenny 700, Munjai for the Bears. I had big hopes for this kid. I drafted him a lot, so I'm so thankful. He's actually kind of kept me pointed in the right direction, getting into some of my fantasy playoffs. He helped out a lot. He's at 681, and then of course, everybody was all that in a bag of chips with Hampton. Of course, Hampton got hurt. He's looking at 431. He's back and running now with the split backfield there with Vidal. So we'll see how he ends up, but we'll give him a break because he was injured. And then, everybody had great expectations for Harvey. And even after the injury to Dobbins, Harvey hasn't really done a lot. I thought he'd do a little bit better. He's at 419 on yards. And then the big surprise in the rookie rushing, Jackson Dart, 400 yards. I mean, this kid didn't even play. What week did he go in? Week 7? I don't know what week. I don't have it on the top of my head. Didn't do the research. But Jackson Dart, 400 yards rushing for a quarterback rookie. That's pretty strong. Pretty cool stats. So I thought that was a little fun fact to look at. And then we were going to talk about those Christmas Day games. You guys can see up there top of the screen. I'll hit on that real quick. Christmas Day, your schedule is Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. They play at 1 p.m. on Christmas Day, and that's on Netflix. The Lions, how the Lions get all these holiday games is crazy. The Lions and the Vikings, 4:30 p.m. on Christmas Day. That also is on Netflix. And then you got the Broncos and the Chiefs. Of course, that probably was hoping everybody'd have Mahomes, but Mahomes is not going to play in that game. He's out for the season. But the Broncos and the Chiefs are on Prime TV at 8:15 p.m. on Christmas Day. So full schedule of football on Christmas Day. You can get your ham, you can get your turkey, you can get your lamb, whatever y'all eat, and prime rib, crabs. If you're from Florida, who knows, oysters. But anyways, get your munchies, get your food, and get the family things done, get the kids all their presents, and then watch some football. So those are your games. And then we'll talk about a couple other things. What do we want to talk about next? Oh, the injuries. We'll talk about the injuries since we were talking about Mahomes. Okay, so we know Mahomes is out for the season. We got the kid Minshew coming in. Going to pick up and see if he can make some hay there, get his name, get his job secured for the beginning of next year, because doubtful Mahomes starts 2026. Mahomes is a strong guy. He's a great athlete. The average is, 8 to 12 months on the ACL. So I don't know if Mahomes will be ready. Wish him all the luck in his rehab. Some more injuries to talk about. Adams for the Rams with a hamstring. I don't think he's going to play right now. He's, they're saying day-to-day game time decision. We'll see where Adams ends up. Another big loss on the defensive side happened early, even before the game started. TJ Watt with the partially collapsed lung. Kind of a bad deal the way that went down. Happened right in their own training room. That's kind of scary. And then Parsons went down for the Packers. He's out for the season. Another guy that gets paid, another guy, big injury, another guy on the sidelines. The Packers are going to feel this somewhat. Everybody, I think, is making a bigger deal out of it. I mean, granted, the guys played strong defense, but the Packers had a pretty good defense anyways. And, playing the way the Packers are playing right now, they're in there. And, let's talk about that division, the teams that they got to play against to get in. The Lions are losing. The Bears are up and down. The Vikings are garbage. So, I don't think the Parsons injury is going to be a big deal. They're going to miss him on the pass rush, but, I think they'll be okay and should make a playoff run. And then this one here just drives me nuts, because I've had such high hopes for Keaton Mitchell with the Ravens. This running back, I think, has all the potential in the world. And, you just start seeing him on the football field. I don't know about some of you guys. I've had him on my taxis. I've had him even on my bench after taxis, just the whole 9 yards with this kid. And now he's out again. Probably won't play the rest of the year with a knee injury. This is a guy, to me, I think he's just injury prone. And I don't think he's going to make it. I'd advise to grab Ollie and put him in your, get him on your teams. And, I'm going to drop Mitchell, to be honest with you. I'm tired of hoping for this kid to make it and replace, Henry at someday. But so those are some injuries to watch. Oh, another one that, you guys that are in the playoffs, I don't know how to take this wide receiver, London, for Atlanta. I don't think they're going to rush him back. He's day-to-day. He's practicing now. I dropped him in a couple leagues that are specialty leagues, like Pirate leagues, and I dropped him to pick up Evans. And good thing I did. I just don't see Atlanta really pushing to get this guy back in the lineup with them not making the playoffs. I don't see it. And that, while we're talking about that, guys, that's a love-hate relationship all us fantasy guys got, right? We work so hard to get in the playoffs. We build our teams, and then we get in the playoffs and then you got some of these star players that are on teams that don't have anything to play for. And when you got borderline injuries with guys, they're going to sit them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like there's even talk they're going to sit Bowers and Jenny. You know, what's that going to do to some of these playoff teams? You know, there's talk that the Raiders are going to sit some of these guys and not play them that much and risk the injury. So, you know, this time of year, it always gets crazy in the playoffs. You make it, you get in. And then that's why team building is so important in fantasy, guy. That's fantasy football. You know, to have your handcuffs, to have, you know, good replacement players for injuries. And when we get in the playoffs, you know, they sit somebody and then you're wondering, man, I get all the way here and now they're sitting a guy. I get so pissed off when they sit quarterbacks and, you know, and then you're counting on them. So that's why it's always important to be strong in your quarterback room. Make sure you got quarterbacks. You know, everybody drafts different. Everybody builds their teams different. I'm a big handcuffer. I believe in it. It has saved me more times than not. So, you know, always remember, you get down to week 16, 17 in the playoffs, you got to watch who's going to play and who's not. You know, just like this week, everybody thought on Doomsday was going to be back for the Bears. And a lot of guys put him in their lineups thinking he's going to be back. And, you know, game time decision, he hurt his foot again and didn't play and caught a lot of guys with a big goose egg because they didn't catch it. They didn't, I don't know if your leagues have the automatic sub where you can lock it in. A lot of the Devy leagues, we don't put that in there because we like to have everybody active and everybody making those decisions. So a lot of the Devies I'm in, we don't even have that available in our leagues. Now, you know, the leagues that we are going to have this year going forward, it was voted on and we are going to have it on all the inner circle leagues. We are going to have the automatic sub where you can set your guys that aren't going to play. So, you know, and the other thing to think about, you know, if you did make the first round of the playoffs and now you just got kicked, you lost this week, you're going to end up 4th or 5th. Start looking at your draft picks, start looking at guys you can trade. You know, a lot of leagues, they have cutoffs for their trading deadlines. A lot of Devies, we don't stop trading. So, you know, start looking at next year. I had a guy coming after McCaffrey. I was in the first round of the playoffs. I got knocked out this week out of that league. I got guys coming after McCaffrey like crazy. I got McCaffrey on that league. I'm looking at turning them. I'd like to gain some more 2027 picks in that league. I'm pretty strong in that league as it is. So, you know, I'm okay. I picked up a lot of good rookie running backs. I got Hampton, I got Henderson, I got Jenny, all on the same team. And so, you know, to let go of McCaffrey for a guy that's on a playoff run, and I gained some picks and I'm a little weak in wide receiver because I went RB heavy in that draft. So I'm looking at trying to, you know, pick up Waddle because I honestly think I'll take a 2027 first and give up McCaffrey, get Waddle, and take a chance on average running back or even a strong tight end and make that trade this time of year. And so those are some of the decisions you guys need to make if you're getting bounced out of the first round. You know, don't be afraid to trade. Don't be afraid to see what you can do to get your team start getting ready for next year. Do want to make a shout out to the Expo again. You know, you guys, I'm a big promoter of this. We're going to be there this year. We're going to have a booth out there. Really want to encourage you guys all to go to the Fantasy Expo in Canton, Ohio. So July 24th through the 26th in 2026. They kind of moved it up a little bit. It's normally, you know, in August. They moved it up a little bit. They are really going to be playing to the fantasy football fans, players. There's going to be live drafts. There's going to be giveaways. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So, and then you can also, you know, run over to the Hall of Fame and check that out if you haven't been there. So encourage you guys to go to that. All right. what do we want to do next? Let's move. Well, we might as well make sure I don't have anything else I wanted to hit on before we jump into this. Yeah, let's do it. All right. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Thursday night football tomorrow night. This is going to be a good game. It's got some implications on playoffs, on seeding. Both these teams are doing real well. And there's some injuries kind of hurting the Rams right now with Adams. But I think even without Adams, I think that, these guys will still give the Seahawks a run here. So, Puka's playing good football. He's a beast when it comes to receiving. Parkinson, I think, will pick up a lot of those targets. He's already been brilliant at playing football for the Rams. I didn't think Parkinson was going to be the tight end this year there. A lot of us were planning on the rookie, but Parkinson has stepped up. He had a big week last week. So, and you got Atwell coming back. He was back last week, kind of on a, he was didn't play a lot, didn't really have a big impact, but I think between Atwell and Mumpfield, I think between those two, Mumpfield, small guy, fast guy, Atwell coming across the middle, Puka coming across the middle. Atwell can do deep. Mumpfield's good deep. Puka's good deep. So I don't think even, with Kay Williams back there at the running back, pass catching, Corum's been running the football strong. He's had some good weeks. So I think if they scheme it right, I don't think they'll miss Adams. I think they'd be a fool to play Adams. I think they should sit him and save him, get him fully healthy and make a good, strong playoff run. So I look for him to sit. You never know with these coaches on the game plan. They may say publicly, oh, he's day-to-day. It'll be a game-time decision. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I don't think he's going to play. They got too many other weapons, and they don't really need to throw the football to stay in this game. So I think they'll be okay without him. I look for Williams to have a lot of pass catches out of the backfield, and I think the Rams will be okay. So that's our Thursday night game. And while we're on the Thursday night game, I think a lot of things have shifted. A lot of guys been talking. I was a big proponent of Mayfield in the beginning of the season, in the offseason before the season started, on this MVP thing. Drake May has gotten all kinds of accolades that he's your MVP for the NFL. I don't know. I think it's shifted, and I think a lot of guys are looking at Matt Stafford right now thinking this is your MVP for this year. I don't think Josh Allen has a chance to win it. I mean, I love Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a beast. But I think this is Stafford's year. I really do. I think this is his year to make another Super Bowl run. I think he really is now the guy that's making the big impact and making the big waves for MVP. Put in chat what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. You think Stafford's it? You think Drake May? You think somebody else? Throw it in chat. Tell me what you guys think about it. But I think this is going to be a strong year for Stafford, and I think he could possibly win the MVP. So he kind of ruined my hopes. Drake May ruined my hopes, and the Tampa Bay ruined my hopes for Mayfield because I had really wanted Mayfield to win it, but not going to happen. So anyways, we'll go ahead and stay on the Thursday night game, and let's go ahead and see where we're at here. All right. We can do some Jimbo's hot takes. Got some folks saying Jimbo's hot takes. All right. Here we go. Thursday night game. We'll stay with that. Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold at your quarterbacks. This is what Prize Picks has got on the more or less on the pass yards. I think a 230 is an easy number for, I think that's middle of the road. Even without Adams in the lineup, I think that's an over, if you will. And Sam Darnold is going to need to throw the football to stay in this game. So I think he will probably go over the 222.5 also. So that's kind of my take on the quarterbacks for Thursday night. And on your more or less. And then you got who we got here? All right, so now we got JSN, we got Puka Nacua, no Adams in my mind, and realistically, I don't think Kupp, he's just average right now, just kind of filling shoes. So JSN, that'll definitely be a more on the prize picks, the 89.5. I would look for JSN. He's been hot. He's been playing great football. I think he is the number one right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go more on the prize picks on that. Puka Nacua with Adams probably not playing in this game. I think that also is, I think Puka blows that 91.5 out. I think that'll be more on the receiving yards for Puka also. You got two guys that can sling the football. They both got great receivers. This should be a pretty fun game to watch, guys. So I'm going to take the over or the more on both of those. And who we got next? We got Kay Williams and Blake Corum. Blake Corum's been playing good football lately. Williams is, they've been sharing that backfield. Williams got in the end zone this week. And this is just rush yards. Yep. Okay, so it's not the combo one. Man, at 55.5 on the rushing side, I think he's going to play more of the passing role. So I'm going to take the less on this prize picks. I'm going to say the under on Williams, and I'm going to take the over. I'm going to go more on the Blake Corum. Tell me what you guys think about that. I think Corum's kind of going to get the bulk of the running game on this. I think by having Adams out, Williams playing the pass catcher, plus that kind of maybe saves a little bit for the playoffs with Williams, and they play Corum a little bit more, give Williams some rest, get him strong for the playoffs. So I'm gonna take the under on Williams. I'm gonna take the over on Corum at 38.5. And then we go to the Seattle side, guys. On this, everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people were so high on both these running backs at the beginning of the year, in the offseason, beginning of the year. I have never been a Walker fan. I never knew much about Zach Charbonnet. I don't know. They just don't seem to pop. You know what I mean? They don't make big plays. Walker's been playing all right, I guess. With this is a true split backfield. So I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna say the less on this one for Walker, and Charbonnet I'm gonna go over more than the 33.5. So tell me what you guys think in chat on that one. Those are your running backs in the game, and then we have one more. Your tight ends. Okay, so Thursday night, Parkinson for the Rams. I think that's an easy over. I think, that Matt Stafford is really taken a liking to this guy. Matt Stafford has always loved his tight ends. I think that this is an easy more on the prize picks for Parkinson. And, Barner with the rookie, Alario out, probably. I think he did switch to IR. I think he is on IR. So I think this is an easy over on the 30.5 for Barner. I think he'll go over that. Sam Darnold is kind of, hit and miss with him. But I would look for that to also be a more on that 30.5. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. Oh, well, we were talking about Tua. I grabbed this. Here's kind of the cap hit stuff. And I mean, not to get back on the subject, but them are some big numbers, guys. And I just don't I don't know what they're going to do. I look for this to go all year long in the offseason, and I don't think they make a move on him at all. I think they'll just sit him and see what happens and hope he doesn't get concussed. And by doing, by sitting him, they gain that. And then they'll just see where they end up in the draft on receivers and how they get their team going again. I don't look for them to get rid of him, really. I don't think they can afford to get rid of him. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. Going to be interesting offseason with that. What else we got? We don't have too much more, guys. Been busy at work, really. Our work has kind of been going through some transitions. We've had some shakeups in management and a lot of guys getting hurt. In fact, we had a guy at work get in a really, really bad car accident on his way either to or from work. I haven't found out what it was yet, but guy got hit by a big truck, which not cool. They had to airlift him to the hospital. So our prayers are with Aaron. Aaron, he's actually on the crew that I'm on normally. And so that kind of hits home, especially, with me coming off the motorcycle accident last year, going home from work. So traffic down here in Florida is just crazy lately, man. It's like, I don't know if it just seems like there's so many more people living down here. The traffic has just really gotten terrible. But so going into week 16, good luck with your playoffs. I made quite a few second rounds, so I'm happy with that. I think I only lost like 4 of my second round dynasties out of my 100 and some, but that I still am in the playoffs. So we'll see what week 16 brings. And like I said, guys, don't be afraid to go after a handcuff and get him on your team just in case some of these teams start sitting people. So have fun with your playoff week going into week 16. Like I said, we will be on air next week on the Wednesday show. We will be doing this week's Saturday night show, but Christmas week, Saturday night, we will not. So be prepared for that. Tune in and catch Jay and me, and we'll see how things go. And always want a big shout out to Bryce. Bryce, thanks for everything you're doing, and be safe up there in all the snow and have a safe holiday. And we'll catch you guys all next week. Have a good one. I'll see you on Saturday.